You are now listening to Can't Feel the Heat, the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival unofficial podcast, the #1 Coachella podcast on the internet. Our mission is to explore the complexities of Coachella, covering the news, music, artists, technology, culture, and business of the greatest music festival in the world. Can't Feel the Heat is hosted by Tom Nash at Podcast Center LA in Torrance, California. Our episode today has an excellent guest. We'll be calling Santi Vidal. Santi is the lead designer, does marketing and talent buying for 3 Points Festival, a mid-sized festival in Miami. He's been to Coachella 4 times. As a hobby, Santi creates replica Coachella posters that predict the lineup. His preferred music is electronic, house, and techno. Artists like Nicholas Jar, David August, Fortet, Floating Points, Red Axes, and Todd Terry. Santi, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Really appreciate having you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I'm excited.
So you do the talent buying for the 3 Points Festival in Miami. What insights do you have into the talent buying for a music festival?
Yeah, so our guy David, he's the founder of the festival. He's the main talent buyer. I'm like one of the junior, I guess, assistants in building the lineup. But David's the one that actually hits up the agents. Since our festival is like a multi-genre festival, kind of like Coachella, our girl Michelle does all the rock bookings. I'm more of the house and the electronic side. We have hip hop. We do a lot of indie stuff. In terms of the insight on the booking process, it's basically you send an offer out. Well, you inquire about an artist. Let's say you want to book a headliner. You inquire about this artist to the agent, and the agent tells you if they're available or not, if they're accepting offers. Then you send out a formal offer. So it's not like they have a price. You set the price, right?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Our festival, since it's a very young festival and it's a lot smaller than Coachella, like we do 15,000 people per day, we have this kind of like edge on getting acts for lower prices. It's a cool play. Miami is a geographically challenged location because either acts start their tours there or they end their tours there just because it's so out of the way.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like an edge over other festivals that we could use. We're like a more local lineup. We don't have as much money as Coachella. It's a cool play. Our lineup is very eclectic and our festival is very unique because there's this technology, virtual reality aspect to it. So it's like a cool play that bands and artists, they could do it for cheap.
Wow. I'm curious, when you're looking at buying talent, right?
Yeah.
How do you pick what talent you want to go after? Like, how do you measure what's going to be a good return on investment, or how do you kind of figure out what's going to play?
We're always looking at other lineups to see what's being bought, and we look at Spotify numbers, we look at YouTube numbers, Facebook likes. That is always like in play.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to get inside information from other industry people, seeing what acts are touring in the future, like whoever's coming out with a new album.
Right.
And yeah, it's pretty much it, man.
So I get that you're always, looking at who are the artists playing music festivals, and I'm guessing that you use that same process when you put together your Coachella posters.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this a one-man show, you putting on these you making these posters? Because it's really impressive. I'll put a link on our Instagram if that's all right with you to share this with our viewers. But how'd you get into doing this? Is this just a hobby for you?
It started off because I got my degree in marketing. I never did graphic design for school. It was kind of like a hobby, and I would just practice like making flyers, just show flyers, festival flyers. It was always like a hobby. And then what would happen was I would send it to a couple of friends, be like, yo, what do you think of my flyer or whatever? And someone would post it on the internet and it would go viral. It would be, people would think it was real and everyone would freak out. Be like, oh my God, this lineup's amazing. And I'm like, yo, that's fake. I made that.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, it used to happen. There was like, I made one of them for this identity festival that some EDM festival that got canceled. And I made a fake poster for their second year, and it went viral. And they actually wrote like a huge article about it, how everyone thought it was real and it was just a fake event. Like even the industry people. This was before I was in the industries. So like even the industry people like heard about it and they're all like, nah.
So how does the design process work for you? What do you do?
Yeah, well, what they used to have was this app called madebysheep.com. It was like a website where they had a template for the Coachella poster. And all you got to do is import the names.
Oh, wow.
And it would generate a poster for you. But that got shut down like a year ago. So this last one I made, I had to make it from scratch.
Wow.
I basically just asked around for if anybody had the font.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I found the font. I downloaded the font and just basically put the original Coachella poster over it on Illustrator. And I that's how I did the font sizes and the spacing between I just try to make it as similar as possible.
And you're doing this all by hand, like with the pencil tool and all that kind of stuff, or?
No, I just it's all vector work. It's all fonts and it's not actual illustration. So it's all on Illustrator, but just mouse.
Wow. It's a lot of work though.
Yeah.
How long does one take you to make?
Yeah, the longer process is the actual coming up with acts. That's the process. The design just takes an hour, 2 hours.
Okay.
But like coming up with the names and like checking on who's available, if this act is conflicting with another date or something, then I try to make it as realistic as possible like that. So I think that's the process. And I actually, when I plan it out, I map out the stages. I'm like, this is the Coachella stage, this is the outdoor theater, this is the Sahara, this is the Yuma. That's how I do it.
Wow.
Because I know that's how Altaled, the guy that books Coachella, how he does this thing is he doesn't do it by genre, but he does it by stage.
And so what's the significance of the stage, the size, and then the size of the group and what the kind of stuff they bring to play as far as their sets? How do you determine all that kind of stuff?
We know like Sahara is mainly EDM, most recently hip hop acts. Yuma 10 is straight DJs. Like there's never a live setup inside the Yuma 10. It's all just DJs. For the outdoor stages, I look at the stage setups. Like if it requires visuals and it's a nighttime slot, well, most often it's a nighttime slot.
Okay.
But a lot of it really comes down to negotiation between agents and the talent buyer. It's like my act needs to play before this act, or my act needs to close this stage, or which you can't really predict.
Right. How technical is that kind of stuff? How do they get on, like when you're buying this talent?
It's a headache, man.
Yeah, they got a lot of demands.
It's a headache, especially with poster placement. That's a different thing, because some agents get angry that their act is billed below their another act. Like, hey, that's
so the way they're placed on the poster indicates their buying power or worth or whatever.
Money, yeah, and I think it indicates how much they cost, right?
Yeah, it's important for other festivals. Like if I'm looking to buy an act for 3 points, and I want to see where they're placed on the Coachella bill to offer them. You get me?
Yeah.
So who are you excited that you put on your poster for this year?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, but I could already like throw some acts out that I know aren't gonna play because I made this back in June.
Yeah.
But I'd be really excited to see Aphex win on the lineup. That'd be awesome. All Soul Wax would be cool. Tame Impala.
Yeah.
Flying Lotus. I just saw his 3D set in Brooklyn, and it was amazing.
Is Tame Impala coming out with new music before Coachella, you think?
Well, Kevin Parker's working on he's puts a lot of Instagram stories of him in the studio, so I'm assuming they're working on a new album. Cool. I don't think it'll be ready by Coachella, but they played Panorama last year, or this year, so they could Panorama's a Golden Voice Festival.
Yep.
It's likely. I wouldn't say it's like it could happen. I would say it's more likely for 2019, Tame Impala.
I love that band. I've seen them both times they played Coachella. One was at the outdoor, one was at the Coachella stage.
Yeah, they opened for AC/DC, I think, on 2018, and I missed it because they played at the same time as Todd Terje.
Exactly, I remember that. Yeah, I love Todd Terje. He's my favorite. I saw him out here at Greek Theater. I've seen him maybe 4 or 5 times. That's the one of when you mention your favorite artist. That's the one I really connected with. Yeah,
he's incredible. He played with the live set with the Olsons.
I love that. Yeah. Is there any music on here that you would compare to that style where it's electronic music played with live instruments? I'm looking out for more artists like that because I think that's kind of like I think it's an up and coming genre. I think I just would like to see more of that.
Right. Mount Kimby is one that it's like that electronic music with live electronic music, basically. Mount Kimby's amazing.
Okay.
What else? There's acts that it's not like a band, but they play live. Like David August, John Hopkins, they play electronic music live themselves. They're making the music live. They're not DJing. They're not playing records, but it's not a band. It's just one person.
Wow.
Okay. Todd, and that's kind of how Todd Terry does it too, right? When he's, I've actually never seen it just him. I've always seen him with the Olsons, which is nice for me, but I've never seen him just by himself. Does he play his like synthesizer parts and stuff live, or is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like a DJ set. It does. There's no stopping.
Yeah.
Like when a band plays, the song ends, the crowd cheers, and they start a new song. Nah, like these electronic acts that are doing this, they play consistently. It's like LCD Sound System. It's like always a party. Like
that's
the party
crazy.
That never stops. It's just they transition into the next song like a DJ set, but it's live.
That's got to be intense, right? To do.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check out Mount Kimby. I appreciate that. What about some of these other, bottom line acts or like just the smaller acts that you would say like that you're personally a fan of or you think are maybe up and coming?
Yeah. Caitlin Aurelia Smith. She's a ambient producer. She's live. She plays all analog ambient stuff. We booked her at 3 Points. She's amazing. I think she'll play this year. Who else? I put Lil Pump and Smoke Perp there as a joke.
Can you tell me about Lil Pump? I don't think I've heard of him before.
Yeah, Lil Pump. He's an artist from Miami. He's a rapper. He's 16 years old. He's kind of a joke, man. He's just, it's Lil Pump. It's not actual music. If you've heard Lil Pump, it's not. It's like that mumble rap nonsense.
Can you just tell me a little bit about some of the top artists that you mentioned? Soulwax, Flying Lotus, Aphex Twin. I lean a little bit more on the rock and indie-tronica side. I know all these artists, but it'd be good just to have you tell me a little bit about what's new with them or what to expect if we were to see them at Coachella.
Yeah, well, Aphex Twin has only performed he basically took 10 years off. He's a big guy, producer from the 90s.
Yeah.
He produced anything from hardcore music to drum and bass, jungle, experimental, techno, and he's like a legend. And then he took 10 years off, and then he played at Day for Night Festival in Houston last year, and I went to that. It was his first show in 10 years. I think it was the best set I've ever seen in my life. It was 2 hours. When the set started, when he went on, it was 75 degrees outside. When he got off, it was 40 degrees. The temperature dropped 40 degrees during a time span of 2 hours, and it started raining. So it felt apocalyptic. That's probably the craziest thing I've ever experienced. He is a very, very hard get. We offered him a lot of money, and he said no. I know Golden Voice offered him a lot of money, and he said no. He's like a very rare act.
And does that increase his draw, for the money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you tell me more about what his live show was like in Houston? I mean, you made it sound awesome, but how exactly does he perform his music?
Yeah, he started off playing ambient, weird, ambient sounds, drone music. And then he went into this jungle drum and bass, just super heavy stuff. And then he started playing techno, and then it's all over the place, but it's like a 2-hour journey. And it was like a spiritual experience, dude.
Cool.
And everyone was going crazy. It was pouring outside. It was 45 degrees outside, and everyone's going crazy. Everyone.
Did everybody huddle up and try to create heat and energy?
Yeah, it was just madness. That's the best way I could describe it. Madness. I was in the VIP section, and the VIP was madness. It was just crazy.
Oh man, I don't know if I could handle that 40-degree drop, man.
Yeah,
that's brutal with cold rain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it felt apocalyptic. That's what it felt like. It felt like he was ushering the end of times.
Was he covered up? Is the stage covered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was covered up.
So he was good to go. You guys were suffering.
Yeah, it felt awesome. And it felt like 5 minutes. It was 2 hours, but it felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just insane. Soulwax, I think they're coming out the new album.
Okay.
And they actually played in 2016 as Too Many DJs in the Sahara tent. and they did the Despacio tent with James Murphy from LCD Sound System.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that was Soulwax. There's too many DJs back to back James Murphy, and Soulwax is their live project where they play. It's a live band.
Okay.
So because they have that history with Coachella, they did the Despacio. They did too many DJs. I could see them playing this year.
Did you check out the Despacio tent when you were you there that year?
Yeah, definitely. That was one of my favorite things that Coachella's ever done.
Did you see James Murphy in there?
Yeah, actually, I would ask him. I'm like, "Yo, James, what record is this?" And he would just show me the cover. Like, thanks, man.
Was he wearing that doctor's mask?
Yeah, he was wearing the doctor's mask and like a hat.
Oh man, I'll just give this story. Basically, this is like a little side tent. They only did it this one year, but it was a dome and had like a disco theme, right?
Yeah, disco theme. It's all vinyl and it's the Macintosh sound system.
It's
a 360 sound system, and it just sounds incredible.
And it was air conditioned in there.
The AC, each one of those stacks is like $100,000.
Right. Yeah, their systems are insane, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Amazing. And James Murphy is actually a friend of 3 Points. He played our first ever festival. We booked LCD Sound System last year, 2016, but they had to cancel because we had a hurricane. We had a hurricane come through, and we had to cancel the headlining act on Friday night, which is LCD Sound System, which is a bummer. But we did their show a month ago or a couple of weeks ago here in Miami.
What's the toughest band that you were able to get?
I would say the Gorillaz.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Gorillaz. The stars aligned with that one. We announced the Gorillaz alone before we announced our entire lineup, and we sold more tickets with that one announcement than we did at any other festival we've ever done.
That's insane, man.
Just with one act.
Insane. How long did it take you to get them?
It was a quick process. They were already playing Austin City Limits the same weekend.
Wow.
So they were playing on the Sunday, so we just got them on the Friday.
Wow.
2 days travel.
Wow.
So,
did you get them at a bargain, or did you have to pay top dollar?
Yeah, definitely a bargain.
Huh.
Definitely a bargain. But they requested like a big stage, so we threw in a little extra money on the stage for them. They show up with 100 people. It's like 30 on stage performers and then like 70 crew members and managers.
Wow.
So there's a lot of costs in that, like catering, like artist hospitality, hotels. It's the
hotel bill's got to be huge. What's the catering bill for something like that?
Like $3,000 a night, man. Something like that.
That's not that bad actually for 100 people.
Yeah,
you're feeding them mac and cheese and hot dogs or what, man?
Something like that for one act. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is. But that's not that bad. I know Tom has $3,000 dinners over here.
Yeah. And so, which of these other predictions do you feel really strongly about?
David August. David August. Aside from Nicholas Jars, I think is my favorite act. I really like Arca. I put Arca on there. He played at FYF, so I think he'll play Coachella. I like John Hopkins. I like, who else? There's a lot of good stuff on here. Satori. He plays like Middle Eastern, like Burning Man. Yeah, it's super dope stuff.
Do people bet on the lineup? Do they actually wager on who's going to be right about the predictions?
I've seen that happen one time last year when Beyonce canceled.
Oh, really?
Or this year. And there was like in one of those betting websites, like from the UK.
Right.
There's one poll was like, who's going to replace Beyonce? And it's like a legitimate gambling thing, dude.
That's crazy. Do you guys battle with these other festivals to get gigs that they can't and stuff like this?
Like for 3 Points?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have ACL the same weekend as us.
Okay.
So on Austin City Limits, so we get a lot of their acts, which is very helpful. Right. Like this year, though, we shared the XX, we shared Bonobo, Rufus Du Sol, Gorillaz. So it's helpful. The other festival that's near us is Halloween, Solani Halloween, which is North Florida, but they're more of a hippie vibe. There's some crossover there.
Gotcha.
Like I think they wanted Thundercat, but we got Thundercat. There's a little bit of crossover there, but it's not like entirely rivalry or anything.
Who do you think will be the headliner for Friday?
For this year, I think if they stay with Beyonce Saturday, like they did this year, because Beyonce is confirmed.
Yep.
I think Gorillaz might be an option.
Cool.
Because I know they're going to be in South America in March, so they'll probably still be touring in April. It's a little late for Coachella, but I know that happened last year with Radiohead. That Radiohead played a bunch of festivals, and then they played Coachella the next year. So I think Gorillaz might be one. Maybe Frank Ocean. I think Frank Ocean might be risky though, because he always cancels.
Yeah.
Bjork might be one, but I know she played IFYF, so I don't know if they repeat headliners. This year is like hard to predict because usually like by this time every year we always know like at least two of the headliners.
Do you think it could be Chainsmokers?
I hope not, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard rumors that the headliners are Beyonce, The Weeknd, and the Chainsmokers, and honestly, that would make me consider not going to Coachella.
Really? Come on, man.
No, what is it about the Chainsmokers? Is it a personal
too poppy?
Well, yeah, they're very, very hip.
Is this cheese?
Yeah.
And yeah, I would that would be an undercard lineup for me.
Gotcha.
Because usually
they've been big recently though, so they're kind of fading out. I feel like.
I don't know, man. They're pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind if they're on the lineup. I just to have that headlining slot to me is just I don't know.
Well, sometimes that's good because it just attracts all that attention. Where then you can get a great spot for one of the artists that you're trying to see, right? Like
exactly.
Like they could have Aphex Twin
in the Sahara.
Yeah, exactly. And all the kids would be, at Chainsmokers. You'd be right up front.
Yeah, if they do that, for sure, for 100%, I'll go. If like the undercard is incredible, then it wouldn't even matter if just Chainsmokers are headlining. But if it's an okay undercard and there's no headliners that I would want to see, then it might be a pass on this year. But I hope not. Coachella always bring at least one headliner that I want to see.
Do you have your tickets?
No.
Waiting to see what the lineup is, huh?
Yeah, I used to do the pre-sale, the payment plan, but now I just wait and sometimes it's like a last minute thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up going weekend 1 if I go. I went weekend 2 this year for the first time, and I loved weekend 2. It was the best because every single time I've gone weekend 1, and this year, me and my friends were like, "Yo, let's go weekend 2," and it was amazing. It felt less crowded, and like the musicians were on point. Like everyone was like, it was a lot smoother. But it's on 420, and we have an event on 420 called 3 Joints. Instead of 3 points, it's 3 joints.
I smoked 3 joints before. That was Sublime's song, right?
Yeah,
I smoked 2 joints, and I smoked 2 more.
We have 3 joints, and it's a hip hop event that we do here. So I might have to skip weekend 2 and just go weekend 1.
Yeah. Where do you stay?
I usually camp, man.
Okay.
I like camping because we always bring our DJ gear and just DJ like pregame, like DJ, and then it's fun camping. You meet people. Like I've met so many people.
Yeah.
As a talent buyer, and all these other talent buyers, do you get to go backstage and meet all these guys and all that kind of stuff?
No, and I'd rather not because like I already do that for my festival.
Right.
So like I mean, I think the perk would be like riding in the golf cart to go from stage to stage.
Yeah, that would be that would be awesome.
Yeah, but I like being in the crowd, man.
Right.
Especially like in the Yuma tent, like that. It's fun in there. My friend Veronica actually designed the backstage area behind the Yuma tent last year.
Oh, nice.
Year. So that was chill. But like, I feel like it's kind of phasey and like at Coachella, like backstage and bougie VIP and
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a vacation for me. Like when I'm like backstage at a festival, it's like I'm working. You get me?
Right.
So like when it's like a vacation, I'd rather be on stage.
You want to watch the show?
Yeah, I want to be in front. Like for LCD Sound System, I was in the front. It's amazing.
Do you have any advice for someone going to their first Coachella?
Yes. You don't have to be in a group. That's my number 1 advice. Because when you're in a group, you end up missing acts. It's cool to be in a group sometimes, but like explore by yourself. Do research on the lineup. Don't just wing it. Like I've had friends that like I asked them, I'm like, "Yo, who are you trying to see at Coachella?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna wing it." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
I think that's the majority of people.
Yeah, like I think the beauty in a festival is like you find out about acts you've never heard, and that takes research. I just spend some time making a Spotify playlist, listen to acts,
Yeah.
and then you discover, and also show up early to sets.
Yeah, get a good spot.
Get a good spot. Coachella is a festival that this is why I like Paul Tillett. What he does is he programs because what I do at 3 Points is I don't really buy the talent. David does that. David Sinopoli. He's the one with the relationship with agents, but I like curate the stages. Like this is the set time, and this is how it flows. And the way I do it is I make the acts flow into each other. Like it starts off hip hop and it ends techno, late night techno, because our festival runs till 5 a.m. So they're hip hop at 8 p.m. and it progresses into a techno. The psych rock bands early on the rock stage, and then at 1 a.m. you put the heavy stuff. You get me?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So it progresses. Coachella does that differently. They like to mix up the stages and the acts. They don't have, other than the Yuma tent, like Mojave and Gobi and Outdoor, the acts don't really flow into each other, which makes you move around. It makes everybody move around. So there's no camping at a stage. You get me?
Of course,
Like,
yeah.
They don't put three similar acts back to back to back. They never do that. Because they want you to move around. But that allows people to get there early to a set, and you get to the front because people clear out.
Yep.
Which I like that, and I know I know the business behind it. They do it because they want people out and about spending money. That's why they do it. They don't want people camping out at the stage.
You get a little break. You grab a beer. You grab some
exactly.
Food, right?
It's smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
We don't do it like that because we have like this whole like it has to progress. The music has to progress into each other, which is cool. But I also respect the way Coachella does it. So my advice would be to show up early. If it's a band you really, really want to see, show up 10 minutes before the act before them ends.
Yeah.
So then once everyone starts leaving, you just walk forward and you get to the front.
For
Perfect.
Sure.
I did that at LCD Sound System. It was Ellie Goulding into LCD Sound System. I showed up 10 minutes before Ellie Goulding ended, and nobody that saw Ellie Goulding wanted to see LCD Sound System. They all went to see Jack U. Jack U was starting at the outdoor theater. So it was a mass exodus from the main stage to the outdoor theater. I just went against the crowd, got to the front of LCD.
I was right there with you, man. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Ellie Goulding was good for my wife and her friends. And then I saw the end of that and I was like, damn, Ellie Goulding got a lot of plastic surgery. She looks different.
Yeah.
And then, the LCD Sound System didn't have a very big crowd, so it was easy to get a good spot for them.
It was amazing, man. That's one of my favorite Coachella sets ever. The LCD Sound System reunion.
Yeah. And it was so cool seeing him DJ like 1 foot away the next day.
Yeah. It was amazing. That was one of my favorite Coachellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess those are my tips, I guess. And also don't record on your phone so much.
Yeah.
Like, live in the moment. Don't be on your phone. Because half the time you don't even watch those videos again. Like just.
And someone else is recording it and they've got better equipment than you.
Yeah, exactly. So just look it in.
Yeah, just YouTube, like type in the band you want to see. Your video is not any better than the video that's already out there.
Yeah, exactly.
What about favorite places? Like for me, there used to be this spot in one of the beer gardens on the main stage where there are these lions, the polo field lions. And this year, the lions were in the VIP area. They made the VIP area bigger so you couldn't get to those lions anymore. But it was just like a really cool meeting spot. Do you have anything like that?
For meeting spots, I like meeting under the set time signs.
Yeah.
Every stage, there's always a sign with all the schedule. So I use that as a point of reference every time. I like hanging out in the Do Lab when there's an act that like I don't want to, like there's nothing I want to see that's playing at the time. I just go to the
Gotta go to the Do Lab. That's the place to go when there's nothing going on.
Yeah, the Do Lab's always popping, and it's next to the bathrooms.
Those new bathrooms are nice. Oh man,
no one knows about them.
Those new bathrooms are so beautiful.
Everybody's gonna know about it now.
and the Do Lab, I always just like take off my shirt, take off my hat, sunglasses, hand it to my wife, give her my bag, and like I'm going up front. I'm gonna take a quick shower. And I did this maybe a couple years now, where every day, like at sunset, like watch a sunset set. Then I go into like nighttime mode, where I like wash the daytime off of me, and then it's nighttime now, and it's just like a tradition that I have of the shower in the Dewlap. You know what I'm talking about with the spray that they have?
Yeah.
Highly recommend that.
For sure, dude. Yeah, the Dewlap's awesome. I love the Yuma tent, especially during the day when it's really hot outside. I just go in the Yuma tent, and the lineup's always fire. And it's always like underground acts that I know.
Yeah.
Like this year, it was Red Axis into Ben UFO into Daphne, back-to-back Floating Points, back-to-back Fortet for like the whole sequence in the Yuma tent for like 8 to 9 hours. I was there the whole time.
You just spent the whole day in the Yuma tent.
Yeah, spent the whole day in the Yuma tent. The lineup was too good.
Oh man.
And then Nicholas Jar, Motorrat and Nicholas Jar played. So I left. It's just the Yuma tent's awesome because it's AC. If it's like really hot outside, just go into Yuma and you're chilling.
Nice, man.
Well, thank you so much.
And also, where can they find you, Santi, if they want to chat you up or know more about this stuff that you do?
It's 3 Points. The festival I work for is 3 Points. I Points, POINTS. It's in Miami. It's in October. You could find me on Instagram. It's Truevine, TRUE.VINE, Truevine. That's my DJ name.
Excellent.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, man. And we'll put all your details on the end of the podcast show notes. If people want to look you up and all that kind of stuff. And looking forward to catching up with you, man. Hopefully we'll see you out there.
Thank you. Bye.